We'll wait for Anthony. So that is a solar panel. That solar panel is collecting electricity from the sun. It is transferring it down through a wire to charge this device. This device has been charging and at a 100%, I don't know if you can see it very well, but that is a battery backup and inverter to AC electricity. That AC electricity is wired to this pump, magnetic bearing hydro pump, which once Zachary flips the switch should pump water up, filter some of the water back into to aerate the water for the fish. The balance of that is going to go through these flow tubes out to the ends, fill this bed, and that bed is made up of lava rocks, very porous material. And we have pre-planted some test subjects to be able to try aquaculture. So with the fish will feed. Their doo-doo is going to be then pumped and pulled into the bed. The nutrients will be used by the plants. The plants will then feed and dump its nutrients back down to the fish, and so on and so on. This device is basically a siphon. We take this out. As the water goes up, it would just drain straight through and overflow. Once we put this on, this bed's going to fill up until it creates enough vacuum with the pressure of the water in the rest of the bed to be able to make suction to pull back through the tube, dumping all the water on this bed back through into this drain, and that drain will dump back into the water. This will pump back up, and we will continue. So it'll bring up the water to the top and then flush and dump. Bring up the water, flush and dump, bringing it back to the fish and around and around. So let me call over a couple of VIP guests. Jade, Rain,
Let's go.
and Hoppa.
What are you doing with this one?
There's a different filter on there right now.
Oh. Should we get the bug sprays out?
Jade,
Come on. Let's go. Okay.
this is exciting. This may be the first solar-powered hydroponic system in Hawaii. Well,
Oh yeah.
there's got to be other, but this is pretty key.
Okay.
I doubt that inverter is going to last too long, so we'll have to size it properly. But all right,
Okay.
all right.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Give it a second for the inverter. Oh, oh. So,
Oh, you guys can hear that at night then.
yeah.
That's not so bad. Nice.
So, let's double check. We have flow. We'll have to play with that volume a little bit later and see how much we need to go as it fills up. But, as expected, the pump is pulling it up. We got some backflow. Should be able to put some aeration in for the fish. We don't have any fish yet, but, and then nothing's coming out, which is good. So right now, the tank up on the top, I guess they call it the bed, the plant bed, is filling up with water at this moment. And once it gets up to an amount as high as the standpipe, it's going to start overflowing, causing a vacuum and actually dumping the bed and recycling the balance of it. So as we can see, it should be filling up. It might be difficult to see here, but we see it coming up.
Holy Toledo.
It's about a quarter away or halfway going already. We'll just keep this thing going and see if we can wait for it to go through a full cycle here.
Yeah, where is that?
And Uncle another beer. Very cool.
So that's all you need then? You don't need very much?
No, that isn't going to be able to sustain. I'm going to need more panels to keep the battery charged. So it's probably going to drain the battery more than that panel can supply it to charge. Which, now that's what I just basically have to fill out, work on. So at that point, that's the balancing act. And you have to assume you're going to have 3 or 4 days of very poor sun. So you always have to size it to something that's going to be the worst case scenario. Because if the pump dies, your fish die. So you have to. But in theory, it works. I mean, that's amazing that that small inverter, battery charger, well yeah, the water level's definitely getting up higher. You can see, I'm going to put a little bit of wave in there. And what we'll do is we'll give some updates on the growth. You know what we should do is stand in the same spot and take a picture every day for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Just to see, you know, timestamp it almost.
She doesn't have lettuce.
Yeah. We gotta figure out how to make our own seeds.
Well, with this raining on here all the time, we just gotta seed one of these guys.
Yeah. I mean, this thing's already fully grown. But, for example, it works.
So
And we can also play with the flow, and that's just for,
how much water do you know you need to put in?
we don't want the pump to go down, and then we're gonna want the fish, but you can't put in too much, so when it fills the bed and when it dumps, it overflows.
Well, that's why he said hook up.
Oh yeah, overflow.
Yeah.
Alright, it's getting pretty high here. So right now, it's probably up just about at the balance tube, but it's not allowing it to go. It needs to actually have more pressure from the bed around it to force that water down that hole. Get a close up of there. Oh, that's great. The greatest part about this
No electricity.
is that there's no electricity. I didn't have to run a plug out here.
That is amazing.
We didn't have to run an extension cord from the house and pay our utility bills, which are extremely high. So there is a payback on this. There's definitely a payback of going off grid on this. This is the epitome of sustainable.
Yeah.
This is sustainability in its finest form right here. We want to see this do a full cycle. Oh, it's getting really high. So it should, at any moment, start coming down. Let's see if we can get this timed and dumping out. So the entire bed up top is just about filled with water. It's getting into all the roots of the plants, and plants like cycled water. Instead of just sitting in the plant, you start having issues with that, with mold and everything. So what it does is it slowly rises the water up, gets to a point, and then does a complete discharge, letting all the water go out. The water goes through the porous cinders. The roots are then pure exposed to just dampness, and then the water comes up again. basically a plant toilet. Oh yeah, you can see, alright, this is good. You can see it permeating up to the top, slowly getting more all around the plants. And you can start to hear it just about now coming through the bottom. I hear it starting to do its discharge, and the flow is getting more and more as it starts making that pressure from the outside, creating a vacuum. It's amazing. And it's all hydraulic. There's no pumps. It's dumping. It's dropping down the water level in the bed by a huge suction, draining it all the way to the bottom. Once you get to the bottom, this system there's some air holes in the bottom of this canister. Once it starts letting air in and burping, it's going to stop and it's going to start the fill cycle again. So as you can see now on the side, there's no standing water. It's completely drained out.
Like an ebb and flow.
Exactly, ebb and flow. Yeah. And plants love it. It's just amazing that it does it all by itself. It's all vacuum and pressure. It should start burping pretty soon. Once it starts sucking the air out of that bottom, it's gonna stop. It's gonna lose all that pressure. I guess vacuum. And then it's going to start that rinse cycle again. Oh, you can hear it. It's starting to burp. Taking in a little bit of air. It just stopped. It's going to start filling up. That's the end of this segment. Big day today. Solar powered. No wires. Or no house wires. The sun. Inverter. Aquaculture.